Game week 29 is around the corner. It means we can activate our free hit. If you're like me, I've already activated it and I've played around with different permutations and I've got 3 teams to show you that I'm really happy with. It's a small pool of players we can pick from, only 8 teams playing, 4 fixtures, but guess what? Using a free hit, it means hopefully we can take advantage of managers who've already used their free hit or not using it to pick the optimum 11 for this upcoming game week. Before we get into this video, do me a favor, drop a like, subscribe and share the video. Now you've done that, let's get into it. Let's have a look at the first free hit draft, and starting in goal, I've gone for Flecken. We're going to see loads of Fleckens in a lot of people's draft. The reason is they're playing Burnley. Burnley relegation candidates really struggling, not scoring many goals. And Brentford, I know they've been a bit suspect this season, but they showed some defensive stability against Arsenal in the last performance. So we'd like to think there's a good probability we can pick up a clean sheet here. In the defence, I'm playing 3 defenders, 3-4-3 in this formation. And I've gone with another Brentford defensive player, and that's Rozeloff. This would have been Reguilon, but he picked up a hamstring injury and wasn't in the squad to face Arsenal. Now that makes me think it's going to be touch and goal for the free hit for game week 29. I'm not sure if I'm going to risk it, but if I get concrete information that he will be starting, there's a possibility I could change it, as Reguilon is much more attacking. Beside him, I've gone for Pedro Porro. Now, Spurs, one of the strongest teams in these 4 fixtures. They're playing Fulham at home. Fulham again, they're not too bad. And there's a good possibility of picking up a clean sheet here. He's just back in time for this, actually. He's been injured for a little while, but he played in the demolition job they done on Aston Villa. He got a clean sheet and he got a bonus point. So it's ticks all round here. He's a nice little pick there. Last but not least is Doughty. Now, before you say it, I know Luton don't keep clean sheets, but they are playing at home. They are playing Nottingham Forest, which is a lovely fixture. And more importantly, Doughty's got 1 goal and 8 assists this season. He's having a great season, takes the set pieces. So again, we're banking on a probability of trying to pick up a little assist here. Moving on to midfield, the first player I'm going to look at is Bowen. Now, he's had a great season. He's got 14 goals and 3 assists. He's the main guy for West Ham. I know the last game they didn't look that good. They drew with Burnley, but still, you'd like to think he's going to grab. If West Ham do score a goal, he's going to be involved. Villa, we know they're a decent team, but you saw against Spurs, they can concede goals. And West Ham at home, they're going to be an awkward opponent. So Bowen, for me, is a lock-in. Next up, I've gone for a double Spurs midfield. Now, Spurs being one of the best teams in these 4 fixtures, of course, we have to triple up on them. I've already got Pedro in defence. Now I've gone for Maddison and I've gone for Son. Son, the absolute, the guaranteed player to own for this free hit. He's going to be in every free hit draft. I think he's going to be in every team for managers who are not even free hitting. That's how, it makes sense. He's the best player in this 4 fixtures. So it's a no-brainer there. So that's the triple Spurs there, locked in. Last but not least, I've gone for Bailey. Now, this position here, definitely up for grabs. There's a couple of candidates there. I've got a couple of them on the bench, whether it's Kieran Gibbs-White or you go for Elanga. There's a couple of other potentials, whether you can go for his Bailey's teammate. You can go for Douglas Luiz. But I'm going to gamble on him. I know he got taken off early and he didn't get a return. I still think he's Unai Emery's favourite in that position. So I still like him. He stays in this draft at the moment. Moving to the strikers, and I think these are the 3 strikers you're going to see in a lot of drafts. First is Morris. He's got 8 goals and 6 assists. He's having a great season so far. Had to be in there, takes penalties. And again, Luton at home are a difficult team to play against. Nottingham Forest surely concede at least 1 or 2 goals in this game. Beside Morris, I've gone for Ivan Toney. I know recently he's slowed down, but for me, the potential in this game, playing Burnley, you need to have him. I think he's actually a potential captain candidate if you don't want to go for Son and want to be a little bit different. I really like the Toney pick. And last but not least, up front, again, similar to how I said Son earlier on is a must-have for this game week, I think Watkins is probably just as important. He's having a ridiculous season. Impossible to have a free hit without him. Yes, the fixture's not the easiest, but guess what? It's Ollie Watkins. He could have scored a couple goals versus Spurs as well. He's a player, you just leave him in your team. So regardless if you're free hitting or not free hitting, I think he's going to be in your team. So that makes the 11. Looking quickly through the bench, the bench, we've got loads of money, so you can put in whoever you want, if I'm honest with you. You'd like to think the 11 you're starting, there's not going to be no injury concerns, but make sure your bench is not too bad just in case. Let's have a look at the free hit draft 2. Again, I'm going to try and talk about only the players that are a bit different. Otherwise, I'll just be repeating myself. So as you can see, the goalkeeper's the same. 2 of the defenders are the same. One difference is Pau Torres comes in. He comes in for Pedro Porro. Again, Villa's fixture's not too bad as West Ham. More than likely will concede, but where else can we go? There's not, as I said, it's a small pool of players we can pick from. But I've gone for Pau Torres there. I would prefer one of the fullbacks, like whether it's Dini, Cash, or Moreno, but I'm not sure of their minutes, and that bugs me. So I think just go for a tried and trusted 90-minute player. That should be good enough for me. So that's the defense. That's the one difference. The reason Pau Torres has come in is because I removed Pedro Porro, because obviously I was on a triple up limit, and I bought in Kulusevski. Now he's come in, so the triple up for Spurs is all in midfield now, going fully gun-ho. Spurs versus Fulham, you'd like to think. And Spurs under Ange, to be fair, are very attacking. So you'd like to think they can score 2 or 3 goals, and you're banking, and hopefully you've got the right 3. Maddison, Son and Kulusevski, I'd like to think one of them gets the goal, a couple of them get an assist, making it worthwhile. Last but not least is Bowen. I spoke about him in the earlier draft. I think he's having a great season. I think he's an easy lock in this draft. So that's the 4 midfielders. Up top, again, it's the same template 3. So I'm not going to talk too much about that. The bench, like just swap it around, put your permutations in. It's not an issue, long as you don't pass the triple up limit. So that's the draft 2 that I like. It's basically getting rid of Bailey, who I'm still not sure about, and bringing in the Spurs triple up, fully committing to a Spurs win here and hoping that we've picked the right players, and putting Pau Torres in instead of Pedro Porro. Let's have a look at the last draft, draft 3. Again, I'm only going to talk about the differences from the other 2 drafts. The first thing you notice is a different system. Instead of 3-4-3 like the other 2 drafts, I've gone for 3-5-2. The unfortunate dropout here is Morris. He's on the first bench, which at the moment I'm not the biggest fan of. But you need to visualize teams to see if we think we can gain an edge on other free hitters. So Morris being on the bench means I can gain an extra midfielder, which we all love. You get the extra points for a goal, extra points for an assist. Currently, Bailey snuck back in to go alongside the triple Spurs and Bowen, who I think are locked in. Bailey could be Douglas Luiz, Mohamed Kudus, Elanga, Gibbs White. It's your choice. I think there's potential for a little punt in the midfield area. So at the moment, I've left Bailey to hold that spot, but the defense is the same, keeper's the same, and the substitutions just pick the best from the rest, as long as you don't go over the 3 limit, of course. That's the 3 drafts I really like. Of course, depending on injury or when we get information nearer the press conferences, we can make changes. The one advantage of a free hit, we can do unlimited changes until we're locked in before the deadline. So we gain that edge. If, say, midweek, Maddison picks up an injury, no problem. We move him. We go Brennan Johnson. This is the one advantage we've got. We can play around early, start visualizing our team, but the more information we get, the more adjustments we can make. I hope you enjoyed that video, but more importantly, I hope you found the video useful. Get in the comments and let me know if you're free hitting, if you're not free hitting, who you're bringing in, or if your team looks similar to the teams I've shown here. Before you jump off, also do me a favor, drop a like, subscribe and share the video, press that bell icon so you know whenever I release a video. And last thing for me to say is I wish you good luck and see you on my next video.